everybody, and welcome to this month's Flower Club. So September already, gosh, it's crazy, isn't it, how quickly this year has gone, and definitely feels like we're starting to come into autumn now, doesn't it? So this month's flowers, I'll show you what we have. So we're definitely starting to take a step into autumn here. So this is your bunch. Just look at this. This is literally one stem of hydrangea. It's actually bigger than my head, but it's got lots of shoots in there. So we're going to do something special with that. So running through what you've got. So you've got a couple of gorgeous hydrangeas. Yours probably aren't as big as mine. I thought I'd keep that massive one because these smaller ones are easier to work with in bouquets. So you'll see they've got this lovely sort of green and pinky tinge to them, and with a lot of the things that we've got in this month's arrangement, you can dry them afterwards. So with hydrangeas, when they start to feel a little bit crispy, that's when you should pick them. So if you've got hydrangeas in your garden, for example, once they start feeling a bit crispy, that's the time to pick them. And to dry them, strip the stems, put them in about 1 inch of water and just leave them for 2 to 3 weeks and they will dry. I find drying them in water actually helps keep their colour for longer. You can also hang them upside down and air dry them. That's also a way of doing it, but I tend to find sort of the water method just seems to work better for me. But whatever you would like to do, and obviously if you are drying them, they're great to use in any autumnal arrangements and also Christmas wreaths, because we will soon be coming up to the season. So hydrangeas, prep for these, strip the leaves off, cut your stems 45-degree angle as with anything, and then cut up the stem as well. So if you see here, just pull that apart to show you. What that does is it helps carry the water up to the head more efficiently, and with hydrangeas they also take water in through their petals as well as up through their stems. So if your hydrangeas are looking a little bit limp at any point, just give them a spritz with some water. You can also dunk them in a bowl of water, and that very often brings them back up to scratch. Obviously these are all fresh in today, and take off these little side shoots as well if you've got any. So I'm just going to prep our stems and then I'll run you through what I'm going to make this month. So again, nice 45-degree cut. If you can take the woody piece off, then great, but the most important thing is sort of cutting up that stem, and they like quite deep water as well, hydrangeas. So this is our monster one, and these bracts here are actually quite strong. So sometimes they can be very thin, and they are okay in water for a few days, but you don't really get the longevity out of them than you would with kind of a mature stem. But these are nice and thick, so I'm actually going to cut mine down, and literally again just 45-degree cut. So I'm not going to cut the whole thing up, I'm just going to cut the few off that are around the edge, so it still leaves us with a nice sized head. In fact, I'm going to take one more off, I think. So it still leaves us with a nice sized one. If you compare that sort of with the other one, they're fairly evenly sized. But then what I've got is lots of short stemmed ones as well. So obviously with these you can pop them into flower jars, bud vases. If you've got one of our little pot heads, you could pop one in there. Give him some hair if you want to do a little fun arrangement or do something with the kids. So I'm just going to pop my hydrangeas just to one side, the bits that I've cut off, and obviously if you're doing a low arrangement you can probably use those stems as they are. Got some eucalyptus, so Eucalyptus cinerea Smells lovely. It's just coming back into season, so June, July, August is when growth is very young on eucalyptus, so they don't last very well once they're cut, and the ends tend to shrivel up and turn black. But now we're back into eucalyptus season, which I love. So you'll be seeing a lot of eucalyptus in the shop. We've got a bunch of birch twigs here, so they're nice long ones, really great just to autumn up anything. Even if you've got some artificials and you want to autumn them up, just pop some twigs in, maybe a couple of the artificial pumpkins, and you've got an instant autumn arrangement. Again, they're nice and long, so if you are using shorter vases or containers, you can cut them down, but I'm going to leave mine long for now. We've got some Eryngium, so the Eryngium thistle, really nice again, but just brings a nice tone to autumnal arrangements. Blue, it works really nicely with sort of oranges and reds, and the texture, it gives a lot of texture to arrangements. Again, these can be dried, so you can use them in wreaths or vases afterwards, as can the eucalyptus, so that will dry and it will keep its colour, so it's a good one to have. We've got these gorgeous roses, spray roses here. They're actually called Summer Days, but the colours are just lovely, sort of the yellows, oranges, deep reds, and some of them actually have got a very slight pinky tinge to them as well, so I'm not sure whether, I think it's just me that's got the pinky one, by the way. Not sure whether the growers kind of got them a bit muddled up, but hey, it's fine. We'll use it, not a problem, and it picks up on the pink on the hydrangeas anyway. We've got our lovely white lizzies. These are grown by Montana Lisianthus, so I always tend to buy these. They are slightly more expensive, but I find they don't snap. So a lot of the other lizzies that you can get from other growers, they're very delicate and snap really easily, but I find the Montana ones really long lasting, and again, you can strip them down, so lizzies are always a good bet, as you've heard me say many times. And Hypericum, so this really comes into its own sort of now right up to Christmas, really, Hypericum berries. So we've got the red ones here for our autumnal arrangement, but they also come in pink, white, coral, so but I thought, as we're doing a nice autumnal one, we'll go with the reds, nice warm colour. So for today's arrangement, I'm going to do a small hand tied, which I'm going to do in this little cylinder vase, and I'm going to just arrange it all on a log slice. So this is a birch log slice, but you can use anything, or if you've got a tray, a round metal tray or a square tray, or whatever you want, you can actually create quite a nice little tablescape, I think is the word that people use. And as I say, I've got my little bud vases here, so I'll probably put a few bits in there, and I've got a little candle here. So what you can do when you've dried some of your bits, these are just standard scented candles, and what I've done here is I've wrapped some string around, tied it in a bow, and then I've just glued my dried flowers onto it. So it's very simple, but it is nice and effective, and when the warmth from the candle, obviously keep the flame away from the dried flowers, otherwise that's really not a look you want. The eucalyptus will give off a slight scent as well, so it just adds a little bit extra, so I'll probably pop that on there as well. So let's get going with the hand tie. So I am going to start with my eucalyptus. So you've got a few stems, these are quite branchy, so you have got quite a few side bits on, so if you are doing a smaller arrangement, just strip them down. Again, 45-degree angle, nice sharp cut with those, and I'm going to pop my Eryngium in the middle. Now this little guy on the side here if we put him in our arrangement, he's just going to be lost. So just literally pull it off, put it to the side with your hydrangea bits if you've cut any off of yours. And I'm also going to take this one off. Literally, they just snap off very easy. So we've got this one, which we can sit in the middle here of our eucalyptus. And I'm then going to pop in some of our silver birch twigs. So what we're doing here is just creating sort of a centre that we're going to then sort of spiral everything else around. So it's almost like sort of a structure to start off, and then we add everything else in. So I'm going to put another piece in there, and I'm holding here. And as we usually do with our hand tides, they help if you can see me. I'm right-handed, so I place with my right hand, hold with my left hand, and literally you come across, lift the thumb up, pop the thumb down. So you've got your straight centre here, and you've got your diagonal here, and a half turn. Then I'm going to grab my next flower, which is going to be my Lizzie. Same thing, lay it across. Here's your stem, here's your centre, and a half turn. Pop my hydrangea in next, and a half turn. My Perican berries, half turn. And then I'm going to pop Orangium in here. So it's really nice. So when you've got greens, a lot of greens, it's quite nice to have that blue tone as well. Now this one I'm going to just pull that side bit off, because that will give us a bit extra to use. And then I feel like I've got a gap this side, so I'm going to add in my other hydrangea. So this is our big beastie one that we cut the side bits off of here. So I'm going to lay that in there. And that gap. Again, half turn, pop some more birch twigs in here. You've actually got 3 stems of spray rose in your bunches. I've just got 2 here, so I'm going to lay that one in there. So you are spreading the colour around, but it's not too structured. It's quite natural looking in terms of the arrangement itself. Got a couple of little side bits on here which aren't really going to be used in this main arrangement, so I'll snap those off. We can use those afterwards. So I think that's now ready for cutting. So bring the vase to here. So we need to cut about here on these ones. And again, before you put them into your vase, cut up your hydrangea, because I've obviously cut a fair bit off of this. Cut up the stem so you've got nice open stems at the bottom there to take the water up. Now, pop that in there. And then, just turn it round, have a little look, make sure you're happy with it. Step back. Stepping back's always good with floral arrangements, because you can see from different angles, or you can spot a gap, or something that you want to tweak. So this is quite a natural looking arrangement, so I don't want too much routine and structure in there. And then what I'm going to then do is pop that on my log slice here, and then I'm going to get some of my little pieces of hydrangea and just snip them down. You should be able to cut up the stems even on these smaller pieces, but you see with that, that in itself is just quite pretty on its own. But what I'll do So I'll add a little piece of eryngium in here. This is nice as well if you are doing wedding florals. You know, just small bud vases on tables can look really effective, just with a few stems in. And they're low level, so people can still see across the table, things like that. Or if you're having a dinner party, even, you know, you could do this sort of thing as well. So I'm just going to leave that quite simple as it is, and just pop it on here. And then I'm going to lay a bit down just here around the bottom of my vase, and then I'm going to pop my candle just at the front. So obviously just be aware the heat that will come up obviously from the candle isn't going to, you know, damage your flowers or set light to your birch twigs. We don't want that. But that just gives quite a nice autumnal feel to a coffee table or a hearth or a mantelpiece. It's just a simple way of, you know, having something that's just not a vase of flowers. You know, it just adds a bit more interest to it and around it. Or you could have your flowers separately if you wanted to have them somewhere else, and then you could just make one of these little tablescapes. Just play around with it. You know, there's no right or wrong with these things at all. You know, floristry is, you know, what you find pleasing to the eye. You know, what one person might like, another person might not. Same with anything really, clothes, cars, whatever it is. So, you know, you could group them, have a little group of 3 there. So just really have a play around, or if you've got, you know, you can line them up on a table. So, you know, you've got lots of options with flowers. So when you buy them, whether you're buying them from a florist or from a supermarket, just have a look at them, just see, you know, can I take that piece off? Can I do something else with it? And you actually will get a lot more for your money by doing it that way. And it just adds a bit more interest and a bit more cheer, and we could do with that this week, really, couldn't we? Okay, so that's it from me. I hope that was helpful. If there's any other styles of arrangements that you'd like me to cover, do pop a comment in or pop me a message and let me know. I've had a couple of questions from people about how to arrange flowers at home yourself, so I'm going to be doing some more sort of mini top tip videos on that sort of thing, which will go on to my YouTube channel, which I've recently started. So if you want any tips and things, pop on over there. Otherwise, I wish you all a good week, and catch up with you soon. Thank you. Bye.